Hello, hello. It is cold outside, and I want to tell everybody who has dogs outside, and there's a lot of people here where we live. That's why I'm making these videos, because I'm originally from Germany and I didn't see dogs outside there. And the winters get very cold there, and the people are very informed about the needs of other living beings. So there are no dogs outside in Germany. At least I haven't seen any. And so when we were in LA, we've seen a couple of dogs outside, and it was bothering me a lot already. And now we moved farther up north, and it seems to be even colder here. And there are even more people who have their dogs outside. Some people have them in crates, even some people have them in confinements and kennels type of cages, and some people have them tied up. And I heard that from other people that some of these people tie their dogs up. I can't see the dogs, but I know that they are suffering, because every single day I sit upstairs, I do my artwork or I sew, I listen to a concert of suffering dogs around us every single day. Every single day dogs around us are crying pitifully, barking pitifully, barking and crying and barking and crying and barking and crying and suffering. And they're saying, "I'm cold, please help me. I'm cold, please help me." And I read in a dog training book by Tamar Geller, I think the title was "The Loved Dog," a woman from Israel who has lived around wild wolves in Israel and has observed them and has observed their needs and their social behavior. And she said it's exactly the same as human behavior. And so she started to study dog psychology, and she became a dog trainer, and she wrote this book. And she said that there was a guy somewhere where she lived, I think somewhere in a expensive area like Bel Air or something, and she has explained to him several times that those are the symptoms of bladder infection that his dog had. The guy did not listen to her. The reason why dogs get bladder infections is when they get too cold, just like people. They get bladder infections. And bladder infections can be extremely painful when they're not treated, excruciatingly painful, and it inflames the urinary tracts in both female and male, and the person or animal can suffer horrifically, and if it's not treated, the individual can even die from it. And it's a very gruesome and very slow death. You don't want to do this to any living being. Really think about this. Think about it. If you'd ever had a bladder infection that was bad, you know what I'm talking about. You know the pain that is involved. The pain is so bad, it makes you scream in pain. And they can't go to the bathroom. They can't urinate. It hurts so horribly bad. And so the dog was showing all the symptoms. The dog would squat, and she needed to make pee-pee, but then she would get back up and she'd be screaming. And the woman, Tamar Geller, said to the guy, "That your dog has a bladder infection. You have to take her to the veterinarian immediately." He didn't listen to her, and a couple months later the dog died. Gruesomely, over a course of several months. This is so unnecessary, this type of suffering. People listen to others. He probably didn't listen to Tamar Geller because she's a woman. The guy is probably 60 plus years old, still old school, and thinks a woman doesn't have an authority over him or something. Forget about authority. Forget about the ego. Forget about your pride thing. Forget about these emotions. This is the truth, what Tamagela said. The dogs have to be kept warm. They have to be in the house. They have to be treated like a family member. They need to be tended to just like every other being. We have the same needs, we have the same nervous system, we're made out of the same materials. We're biological organisms, and particularly highly evolved, you know. The dog is just as evolved as a human in terms of needs, hunger, thirst, pain, even emotional hurt affects dogs. They feel it, you know. They feel it when people bully them or put them down or laugh about them. They feel that energy, you know, just like people do, you know. Bring your dogs in the house, treat them well, you know. Just like children, you know, dogs too want to know, want to have an orientation in your house and know what they can do and what they can't do, you know. Obviously, they can't be shredding everything up. You have to be firm with that, calm and assertive, as Cesar Millan said. You have to stay calm and you have to stay loving and kind, but you have to be assertive. You have to a certain degree, you have to be firm. You have to say, no, you can't have that pillow, and the dog will know, you know, no, you can't have that jacket, or no, you can't have that whatever, you know, stuffed animal, and tear it apart. So the dog will learn, but the dog learns just like a child learns, you know. And the child learns also the same way, by calm, assertive, teaching them calmly and assertively, and loving and kind, but firm. And everybody learns like this. Every individual learns like this. Nobody learns through put downs. Nobody learns through anger. And I am learning this myself as I go right now. As I speak, I learn all of this. I constantly learn all of this. I learn that sometimes I get impatient, and it shows in my video. Then in some videos I feel like, I was way too aggressive, I was way too impatient, and I remove the video. Most of my videos I don't like, but I am learning, you know, every day. I'm learning that the slightest bit of anger or aggression is going against what I am trying to do. It's going against teaching anybody. The best way of teaching is by living as a role model, living as an example, which I am trying to do. Obviously, I'm showing how I live, but then when people see that I still have some anger inside of me, they'll go, oh well, that's just double standard, she still has anger. Well, I am definitely not perfect. Nobody is perfect, and I'm trying, as I say, I'm trying to heal myself. And it's a long journey, probably a journey until I'm 150 years old or something, you know. It probably will never end, that learning process. But I have already learned a lot. And as I told my mother last night on the phone, I have learned a lot of information. I had a lot of insights about myself and others. And I see the picture from above, as Paul says, from 350,000 feet above, from an airplane perspective. And then you can see how these things tie in, and it becomes a whole lot clearer why these things are working like this, and this is working like this, and this is affecting this, and so on, you know. there is no more mystery about it then, and there's a lot of more questions coming up because of this, and a lot of the old knowledge is thrown overboard. You know. And I wish everybody would do this, and instead of just listening to a church minister, you know, ask some questions, read some information, and don't just read the slander information that's presented to you by Richard Berman and Frank Luntz. Read all of the information. Read the information that's not coming from the corporations, like the non-religious information too. And then think about it. Then you have a broader overview over the entire situation. Then you see the big picture from above. And then you can say, oh, wait a minute, what have I believed all these years? And have the guts, have the courage to have the honesty, the intellectual honesty, to look on yourself and say, I have believed this for 50, 60, 70 years. It's time for me to do an inventory and what I have been believing, and now it's time for me to come to an understanding of the truth, because it's never too late to make that U-turn. It's never too late to be willing to see the truth, you know, and abandon the ego. Throw the ego in the trash can on the desktop. Throw that in there and click recycle, and then it makes and the ego is gone. That's how easy it is. That's how easy it can be if we are willing to do it. If we're willing to let go of the ego and all these attachments to this identity that we have established, that is basically more or less a cyber type of identity. It's, for example, the 60-plus-year-old guy, old school guy, is who doesn't want to listen to a woman, you know. That is total false egoic attachment and identity. It's a defense mechanism that has been growing over the years. It is a false identity. It is not true. It's based on complete lies. It's like a big card house made out of lies, you know. All these old beliefs, like the men, they always think, oh, they are somehow above the women, they're somehow smarter than the women or something like this. This is a lie. It's bullshit. Throw that away. Have the guts to throw that away. Listen to Tamar Geller. Listen to many different grand women out there, you know, and there. For example, there was a woman physicist, I forgot the name. I keep forgetting these names. I have to research that again. She has discovered nuclear energy. She's the one who discovered nuclear energy. This is major. It's not good. And later on she realized that it was a dangerous discovery. She realized that herself, and she regretted it. But he researched it out of interest, out of the subject field, because she was just passionate about that subject field, physics. And yeah, and this knowledge that she has discovered, was the fact that it was a woman who discovered it, has been swept under the rug. Until today, nobody still talks about it. And so all of this has to go. This terrible sexism and the speciesism and the racism and all of all of these biases, they have to go. They are outdated. Let's enter the new age, okay? Not in a mystical way, but in a realistic way. Thank you.